gotta get it, cause I gotta get it. What's going on? It's your boy SB. So we are talking about Amazon layoffs in Texas, and they actually stated it as such, as a layoff. This is the first news press where they've stated it as an actual layoff instead of using other words like a cutback or shedding or all these other technical words. They actually called this a layoff, and it was a layoff of 55 people. So we're going to talk about it. It says that it was unexpected and sudden. So we're going to get straight into the press release. Let's talk about it. So it states 55 DFW workers laid off after Amazon's warehouse closure. A last mile company notified employees that the layoffs will become effective September 29th. So it says on August 24th, the Dallas-based company informed the Texas workforce commissioned of 55 associates laid off at its Arlington location. The company was a delivery service, and it was a partner for the retail giant Amazon. And it says that Amazon abruptly ended its contract with the Southern Star Express on August 23rd. It says that this closure is expected to be permanent and is due to the unexpected and sudden cancellation of Amazon's contract. All right, so we're going to stop right there. This is the main thing that I've been pushing, these 3 reasons of what? Paying off debt, creating another stream of income, and creating that emergency fund, that emergency cushion. For this very reason, it says that this was unexpected and sudden. I just did the video about the signs that you should look for when it comes to layoffs. And then this is the very next article I post is of layoffs. We are in that season, and we are continuing to go into this season with no signs of this letting up. And the crazy thing about this is after the 100,000 head count cut. And this is after all these buildings that's still being closed down after that big cut. And this is just fresh off the press. So it's showing that there is still a lot of pullback being done. So when you continue to read, it says that all affected employees have been notified of the layoffs, which will become effective on September 29th. So basically, they gave them a month's notice. So as I continue to go through this article, one thing I'm not seeing, and I think that's why they titled this one layoffs instead of building closure, pulling back, and they actually named it the layoffs. I don't see anything about them being redirected here. So that's why I'm pretty sure they titled it layoffs. So we've been seeing the progression of closures, redirections, closures, redirections. Now this is the first one, layoffs. Maybe because it wasn't any other locations around to send them to, but this is Amazon with delivery stations all over the place. So I'm pretty sure that it was, not sure on that. So they were advised on August 24th that September 29th, you will be jobless. That's why I've been saying, get your resume ready in any job that you're at right now to avoid something like this taking place. Because can you imagine the people here, even though some people may be like, oh, it's just 55 people. That's 55 people. That could be 55 families right there. Especially when we're getting ready to go into one of the most stressful times of the year, the holiday seasons. So at least when I think about that, hopefully, because it's the holiday season, there should be a lot more openings coming up. But still, who wants that type of pressure? Getting a notice like this right before the holiday season, hearing that you have 1 month until you're jobless. You have 1 month until you don't have any more finances coming in. So through this so far, at least they got a notice. At least it wasn't like, hey, tomorrow's the last day. A month, you can do a whole lot in a month. Even myself, I was able to go look for a job, get an interview, do the drug test, do this, do that, all within a month. So at least they gave them that leeway. At least they gave them that time, because there's a lot of jobs that don't do that. So why did this take place? They talk about it in the article. It says the Arlington warehouse layoffs come as a result of Amazon's effort to scale back operations due to the company's overgrowth during that time. After a slowdown in online shopping in the first 2 quarters of 2022 caused a dip in the company's earnings, Amazon announced a series of delays and closures of warehouses across the country. Remember, I was talking about this 4 months ago. I read that exact article where they stated, yo, we're over head count, and they said we're making adjustments. They didn't say we were cutting. They didn't say we was closing down buildings, but I was like, yo, I'm pretty sure that's what that means. So I have 2 questions. I would love to get your feedback on this, and I'll give my opinion on this too. So first off, do we think we're done with this scale back? What's your opinion on that? My opinion, I do not think so. And I've stated my reason before, because we're still at the entry of this. They said we got a few years of this, at least 2 more years of this situation in the economy that we're going through. But what alarmed me is how much has been pulled back in such little time. It was only 4 months ago when I made that video when they did their first quarter release on how much they made, which they're talking about here, how there was a dip. Look at all the buildings that shut down within, all the people that got redirected to other buildings, and now finally the first layoff. That all happened within 4 months. That's what's alarming to me, because if that hasn't even been a year yet. And I don't even think we hit the most difficult time, which I've talked about in the last video, which is right after the holiday season, which we're approaching. So that's what I'm worried about. And that's what I'm trying to keep my eye on, is how bad is this going to get? I think that might be determined on how bad the spending gets. Like I've said in the other videos, our job is dependent on consumers spending their money. So this is crazy. This is getting more and more real by the day. So what's your opinion on that? How much more do you guys think we're going to pull back? Do you agree we're still at the entry of this and this can be way worse? It hasn't even been a year yet and we've seen so much pullback. And then my second question, it kind of goes off what they stated on the second part. It says, after a slowdown in online shopping in the first 2 quarters caused a dip, this was one of the reasons why they, decided to pull back and close the warehouses. Do you guys think consumer spending is going to continue to slow down, continue to see consumers pull back when it comes to spending their finances on an Amazon.com, these online stores? That's what I want to know. What's your opinion on that? Have we seen the worst part of the consumer spending pullback? Do you think that's done? Or do you think that's going to be more? I think we should probably see some spending due to the holiday seasons. People are going to be spending money. Pretty sure people are going to be blowing money in this holiday season, because that's just America. As long as there's money on their debt, on their credit cards. But that's another thing. They're talking about how debt is already through the roof. So will this be the first holiday season where we see a big pullback? That will be a leading sign and a big sign if we start to hear news reports on how bad consumer spending is at the beginning of this holiday season. If we see that, I think it's going to be real bad by the end of the year. But what's your opinion on that? So once they get past that part in the article, it gets kind of interesting. It's something we talked about. Remember, I made videos about Amazon robots taking over and fully automated. We've had that talk on this channel plenty of times and in different comment sections. They kind of go into that. So after they talk about the spending and all that, it says, although Amazon spokesperson, which is not me, I am not a spokesperson for Amazon. I'm just little OSB out here in Buckeye, Arizona, giving my opinion on public news. This is the spokesperson that's about to speak right now. So he starts to talk, right? And then he goes into saying criticism over safety and working conditions. Amazon unveiled new warehouse robots in June 2022. As reported in GreekWire, the company sees long-term benefits in worker safety, productivity, and efficiency. And then it says, the higher the standards and the protection that the unions and other facilities provide workers, the higher the motivation for a company like Amazon to quickly invest and deploy these sorts of labor removing technologies. How many times have we talked about that on this channel? And why does my mic keep sinking down every time I'm talking? They've been talking about that a lot. Other people have been talking about that a lot. The more that all these unions and the more that all the workers demand more stuff, that is going to make these companies just in general work harder to try to get machines, to get AI to replace these jobs. We've talked about that on the channel. Go check those videos out. But it's kind of interesting in this layoff press. Like, why are they talking about this in a layoff press release? 55 people just lost their jobs, families, all that stuff, and they got the nerve to talk about AI in this as well. Why didn't they do a separate press release on this and just give this moment like, yo, we feel bad. These people don't have a job anymore. But if workers keep talking about unions, we do have, that's going to make these companies go more AI. Why is that being talked about in this press release? I'm not feeling that. Maybe they're really trying to let people know that it's coming. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? That kind of rubs me the wrong way. Why did he put that in there? All right, let me go. Let me continue. So yes, it is getting spooky out here. What we have been talking about 4 months ago has arrived. The first announcement of actual layoffs has been announced in this article. They've been cutting, they've been doing all that stuff and been using different words and, PC words. They now have announced a layoff. As I continue to say, brush off them resumes. I would encourage you not to leave Amazon. I'm not leaving Amazon, but I am trying to do things on the side to bring in more streams of income just in case something like this happens, especially with us going into this new year. I told y'all, I made a video. I believe this is going to be Amazon's worst peak season ever. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But one thing I know, or my opinion, one thing is my opinion, is since I've worked at Amazon every single year, and even before me, people have told me right after peak season is usually the slowest time for Amazon. In my opinion, and from what I've heard, but my years working here, right after peak season is usually slow. So if I would take a guess on when some big pullbacks are going to happen, when more cuts and more shavings and all these other words that get thrown around is going to happen, would probably be around that time, my opinion. So if you don't want to have a side gig or some extra streams of income now, I would definitely encourage you, by the time we're going into this new year, maybe a little before, I would say now, but definitely by then, I think, just my opinion, you should have some safety net just in case. Anyways, man, this is your boy SB. Just wanted to hit you guys with that update. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, because I will be staying on this topic. I've been watching this topic for 4 months. I called this out 4 months ago when the first press release came out about them being overstaffed. I knew what that meant. So I will continue to keep posting updates. So be sure you subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification bell. Yes, I'm also an artist. This is my song's about to come on. It's called Whoa. Off my project, I do motivation music, positive music, all that good stuff. If you want to check that out, that will be in the description. Also, the link to this article will be in the description as well if you want to read it for yourself. I'm going to catch you guys on the next video. It's your boy SB. Let's go.
They say I couldn't do it, but I did. Turn stacks to a crib. Yeah, going up, going in. Let them sleep, bedtime, tuck them in.